Hi guys, it's Ilya here, and today we're talking about Siegfried Line, a map which is not really popular among light tank players because they do here a lot of mistakes and can't really be effective. So we're going to talk about how to play better on this map, how to get, well, more or less stable assisted damage. You can't really guarantee it on this map, but generally you can do some spotting here. Now, there is an unusual but important thing about this map. It does matter where you get spawned, because sometimes on a light tank you get spawned on lines 0 and 9, which means that you lose a lot of time to get to the field. If that kind of thing happens, then you should actually keep an eye on the distance to the enemies and kind of move in semicircles and get closer and closer till you finally see someone, so you don't have to rush all the way to the bunkers here, because it can be too dangerous. You can meet a lot of enemy light tanks who will just destroy you, or you can be hit in your side from enemies like FCM currently. Luckily for me, I was spotted closer to the field, so I was definitely first here, and if there were any enemy light tanks, I would have spotted them while they were only getting to this area. You can try to use these tactics, however it's a bit risky if they just try to rush you. So maybe moving in semicircles and like checking the area like square by square, like square on the minimap, and getting a bit closer and closer is a bit better tactics, because as you can see I get spotted here all the time, and that is because enemy light tank is actually standing near FCM. There is a nice bush which you can use if you're playing from the other base, so that's a tip for the other base as well, which lets you spot, well, mostly medium tanks who cross this area because they have worse camo, but if some crazy light tank like me gets too close, you will also spot it, even though it's a bit less likely. So from this base you should move in semicircles and keep distance, and from the other base pretty much too. You can go to somewhere like K1, K2, K3 and kind of proceed a bit further and a bit further and a bit further. Remember that there is no need to get close to the enemy to spot it, so why should you actually bother with going to bunkers in the very beginning of the battle? But if you're sure that you'll be safe, if you have nice support, if there are a lot of tanks, for example, who went there, like in this case, you can be more confident about it and you can actually go to bunkers. But still, try not to be stuck behind the bunker. You need some freedom, you need to be able to move. So as we are winning this flank, it's time to proceed further, and right now I'm using distance to spot enemies and they can't see me. And look, I have a nice support in face of AMX 1390 and also 3 artilleries, which is probably more important because AMX 1390 is not that accurate. So we have 3 artilleries, which is great. That means they can keep firing and firing and firing, and enemies are all out there. I can keep them spotted all the time, but it's time to move a bit closer to the enemies because there are more and more of them, and they are kind of rolling back because they get spotted all the time, so I won't be able to spot them from here anymore because they are kind of behind the hills. And here is this nice hill from which I can do a lot of active scouting. I really get spotted on this hill all the time because it's close to the enemies, but I don't care too much because I only stick out the very top of my turret, maybe half of my turret, for a very short instant, and they just can't do anything about it. I just keep rolling and rolling around. Maybe RT could be some problem to me, but come on, like, there is very little chance that artillery will actually hit me, right? So I roll out for a very short moment again, and then I see everyone, and our RT can keep working. Also, if there are not so many enemies here, but there are more enemies in the field, it can help to lure some enemies from the town itself, because they kind of see that there is some danger coming from the field and maybe it's time to help teammates, and you will also spot that enemy who will come to help his teammates. Right now I'm spotting everyone and their team can't see anyone but me, which is really great. We're kind of risking only one tank, only me, and my fellows just keep shooting and shooting and shooting, which is really nice. If you're playing from the other base, you can use pretty much the same tactics, but I'm not sure if there is such a nice heal on the other side, but you can still use distance control to spot enemies who are standing there on the hill, because there are not so many bushes on that hill. So that won't be much of a problem to spot some TDs standing there or medium tanks standing there, especially because those tanks usually think that they are completely safe and nobody will spot them there. And if you have some nice support in the field coming with you in face of medium tanks or maybe other light tanks, you can do some spotting damage there as well. So there is nothing principally new about this map, about the techniques which you use on this map, but it's more about how you should apply them, because as I said already in the beginning, most players do wrong stuff on this map. But you should really just use distance, because you can use distance. There is a field, which means that you should use distance, and no matter on what map this happens, if there is some open field, use distance and try not to get spotted too much. That's the general rule, which can also be applied here. Or use heals for scouting, for active scouting, as I did in this battle. But this will be a bit more difficult from the other base. But still, the main point is distance control, and that's basically it. So after you secured a field and heals near it, it's time to improvise, because there is kinda no general rule about what to do next. If you're outnumbered, try to stay on the open areas, try to stay in the field, because there you will have a chance to spot enemy before it spots you. And if you spot someone, don't shoot, let your teammates shoot it from greater distance. If you are outnumbering enemies, then you can try to be more aggressive and go actually into the town. But in this battle, our enemies still have a lot of hit points and also quite some armor, and I'm definitely not the tank to rush into the town because I'm a light tank and I'm low on health points. And well, our team is all light tanks and artillery, so that's not a great idea to go into the town right now. In this kind of setup, well, not a setup, in this kind of set of tanks which is left from our team. But in your case it can be different, and you can be of nice support. You can flank enemy heavy tanks in the city if they're still fighting, or medium tanks. So yeah, just do whatever you think is better for your team in that situation. But remember that if you are losing, if you are outnumbered, then field and open spaces are your best friends. So that's pretty much it about playing light tanks on Siegfried Line. Thank you for watching. If this was helpful for you, give it a like and subscribe for this channel. And see you in the next videos, and check out my channel art to see my stream timetables. I will be so happy to see you on my streams, where you can watch light tank action live, or maybe you can ask me to play some other tanks which you want me to play.